Welcome back, folks, to Rudy's Roundtable. I have a very special guest here with me today, a fellow Toastmaster here in Austin, and also an incredible fan of video games, the one and only David Bull.
Rudy, hi. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you for being on here and for taking the time. I want to just get started with something that I'm so curious about. Can you tell me, what are some of your most favorite games or games that have impacted you growing up and just throughout the years? I'm really curious about this.
Okay. Games that impacted me. Well, I think one of the first ones that really impacted me, 1989, Nintendo, Tecmo. It was Ninja Gaiden. Or Gaiden, as pronounced in different countries. And wow, that game just blew me away right from the intro. Before you even press start, this entire cutscene about two ninjas meeting in the field on moonlight evening, and they just chase one right after the other, running as fast as they can. Both jump in the air. There's a quick slash. Both land on their feet, and one collapses to the ground. And that's the beginning of the game. You're like, what? I need to know more.
What happened?
A letter is sent, and it's the letter from the person who just died, sending it to his son, Ryu Hayabusa, who you play as. And it's your mission through the game to understand what happened to my father. And it's just really spectacular that it gives you this heart-pounding opening. And then once you're actually playing the game, I mean, it just gives you the ability to feel like a ninja as you go bouncing off walls. It's great. I love that game.
And that one's an industry legend for a reason too. Did you continue on to play like Ninja Gaiden 2, Gaiden? I'm gonna pronounce it right. I remember Ninja Gaiden 3 was very very difficult. Like that series is known for its difficulty as well.
Oh yeah.
Did you continue playing like the rest in the series?
I did. Yeah. And then they came back during the original Xbox era with one in 3D, and that one really blew people away because it was so smooth. The team behind it, I want to say it was Team Ninja who worked on it. The same team that did the Dead or Alive series, and later on did Neo, which was a Soulsborne style of game. And they created something really spectacular on the original Xbox, and it gave you that same sense of difficulty, that same sense of I need to like really concentrate to get through the world. But it was so fluid, it was so fast, and they made a few after that, and actually very recently announced a fourth in that series, along with at the same time announcing and very recently released a remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2 or Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
I did not know this. Okay, wow. So yeah, funnily enough, my introduction to Ninja Gaiden and specifically the character Ryu was through Dead or Alive. Like, actually,
really?
I played Dead or Alive first. I think it was Dead or Alive 3. I was just a fan of like the fighting games.
Yeah.
Tekken and like all those Mortal Kombat. And Dead or Alive came on the scene, and then I was like, wait, who's this ninja character? And it was my cousin who had the game, and he's like, oh, he's like from another game, like a ninja game. And then I went back and played a little bit of Ninja Gaiden 3 was my introduction to that series. I also wanted to make a quick note. One of the reasons I definitely wanted to talk to you, because we're both part of Austin Toastmasters, was in Toastmasters, there's people who are fans of video games, but just someone who just loves video games as much as like I do. I just had to like sit down and chat.
That's cool. Yeah, that's great. I'm happy about that.
So that was on the Nintendo 64, right? With the original
Nintendo.
The original Nintendo.
Yeah. That was in 1989. Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Do you find yourself gravitating more towards like those action adventure games? Are you more RPG? Do you have a specific genre you kind of go to?
I typically most enjoy these narrative-driven action-adventure games. You know, like the more, the latest Marvel Spider-Man game on PlayStation 4, God of War, Last of Us. Games with like a great story really grip me. And one that caught my attention, not to tip my hat too much, but in 2013, Crystal Dynamics released Tomb Raider, a reboot of Tomb Raider, and that was just such a fantastic game. Like I got most excited about the way that they were able to handle the mechanics of the bow, but they added a lot of dimensionality to Lara Croft through that, and that one's one that excited me and made me want to stick around and play more.
Yeah, man. So I grew up on Tomb Raider on the PlayStation. I remember it was like Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, and the whole Lara Croft Tomb Raider series. I think 1, 2, and 3. And so I have a weird fact with the Tomb Raider series.
Mm-hmm.
I've played most of the games,
Mm-hmm.
but I have not completed any.
Well, they're hard. I get it.
Or just being a kid, just like getting stuck at these, right? So I have a huge admiration for Tomb Raider and Lara Croft and what she means to the industry as a whole. I mean, you're talking about like a worldwide icon, really,
Mm-hmm.
with this character. And I love the combination of like the action and the puzzle, right? Like the puzzle mechanic behind it. And I remember the reinvention, right, of Tomb Raider, bringing it down much more grounded, a much more vulnerable protagonist as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that helped at least me, like as a player, like connect with the character more. And then I have to mention, because you brought up with Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of the voice acting team and the music. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think Yuri Lowenthal?
Lowenthal. Yeah, Yuri Lowenthal. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. As the voice of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, what a performance. I'm just curious, what were some of your favorite things about that Spider-Man game?
Well, from a gameplay perspective, it gave people the ability to just swing around Marvel's New York in the way that they wanted to, and you felt very acrobatic, right? You felt cool as you swung around the world, as you allow the entire elasticity of that spider web just contract, and you're just jumping as high as you can, swinging as far as you can, and it just gave people a playground, and that was fun, right? Obviously, there's a really great story, and it gave people the opportunity to take known characters and then turn things on their head. Like, spoiler alert, I mean, it's a game from 2018, but Otto Octavius is Peter Parker's mentor, and people who know the Spider-Man story from the 1960s know Otto Octavius is Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus, one of his main villains. But to see him in that other role, he's Peter Parker's mentor.
Genius.
And then later on, everybody who knows the stories knows exactly what's going to happen when he turns evil. And now there's this drama between Peter Parker, the man behind the Spider-Man mask, and this supervillain, Dr. Octopus, who is really Otto Octavius' mentor. And he has a very personal relationship with this villain, with this arch villain, which is something that's very common in Spider-Man stories. There are these connected stories. It's never just a world of superhero versus supervillain. There is instead a human behind the superhuman mask and a human that's behind this villain that Peter Parker and Spider-Man must wrestle with and try to create something better together. He's always trying to save these villains, and sometimes he can't, and he has to make a really tough sacrifice.
That is so well put. Yeah, because from a writing narrative perspective, right, it's such a genius move to have right off the bat Otto as the mentor, and then again, spoiler, but I believe that Otto actually finds out that Peter was Spider-Man. Like I think at some point earlier, like before the climactic battle, it would make it even more tragic, right, that he was like covering it up. And it's almost like the Romeo and Juliet effect. Like, that Romeo and Juliet aren't making out of this, alive. And it just adds to the tragedy of it. And I think I read somewhere that the best Spider-Man stories are when, I think how was it? Like, you just beat up on Peter Parker. Like, he just can't win.
Yeah. It's often said that in order for Spider-Man to win, Peter Parker must lose.
That's the quote.
And that's just, what a tragedy.
Wild. I was so hyped in that game because growing up with the PS2 era, that Spider-Man 2, I think it was Treyarch. It might have been something. I might be getting that wrong. But the Spider-Man 2 game on PlayStation 2 and that generation was incredible because I remember it was the first time really getting that full connecting, swinging ability.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I mean there was Web of Shadows. There was Shattered Dimension. I mean, there's several other ones, but it really was that Marvel PS4 Spider-Man, I think, that really solidified everything as a whole with the music story and everything. What are some of the other ones that have impacted you? I know you mentioned like the narrative driven. What are some of the stories? Why do you think you resonate with stories so much in a video game?
Well, I think part of that is because I like telling stories. I like being a storyteller. That's why I'm in Toastmasters with you. Like I very much love telling stories to a room of people. I enjoy doing that at work as I present to a 200-person room. Like there's something really impactful about telling stories. And one of the stories that I enjoy, I don't know if you call it retelling or reciting, The Last of Us. I mean, The Last of Us is a really special, unique story that was it just took the industry by storm. I mean, so much so that they made a very recent HBO show, and they've got the season 2 coming out that they're advertising right now here at South by Southwest. And wow, like anybody who watches it, anybody who plays it, I mean, that one just grips you. It's
immediately.
Yeah. And it just, yeah, it's something special. I mean, I've just seen all these videos from back in the day, from like 2012 and 2013, when they would do these YouTube React videos. And okay, let's see people react to the first 15 minutes. And you see people just like, ha ha ha, I'm having a great time. And then they just like, their faces drop and they need to put the controller down and just say like, what did I just witness?
Yeah.
And oof, the power that story can have. And it's really one of those prime examples to show that there's something deep happening in video games that just cannot be delivered in any other medium because of your control of the characters. And when you're pushed through a story, when you have these moments that just shatter your expectations and you were a part of it, it hits a little harder because there's a different level of relatability. Obviously, you're not that character, but you controlled the movements that led up to that scene. And so when it takes place, it's like, it's a part of you. You were in that story where this massively dramatic thing happened. Like, oof, it really tugs on those heartstrings.
David, you're just spitting fire today, man. like, yeah. I mean, I just agree with that so much. Last of Us comes out, and it was crazy. The timing, you know, very well. Like in that time, I think it was near the end, or The Walking Dead had a good run up until that point. Like zombie stories were very. It kind of felt like, oh, we've done this so many times, but they were able to do it in a refreshing way that I think is still very timeless. And I remember my Last of Us story. I'd played it before, but I introduced it to a couple of my friends. It was like 10 o'clock where they came over. I was like, hey, just play the intro, right? They play the intro. We don't stop and play all night until like 7, 8 a.m.
Wow.
We played through the whole game just nonstop because they were so hooked. They were so hooked. I mean, and it has an incredible quality, you know, to kind of reiterate back to the Romeo and Juliet analogy. If you even see the cover of The Last of Us, you know that the character you start off as, another spoiler, with Sarah, Joel's daughter, you're like, well, who is this person? This person they're not on the cover, so they're not going to make it.
Right,
So it's like that impending sense of dread,
true.
Right? But you're so right that there's something where not just the control of the character, but, you know, you're controlling where the character is looking, the decision of to stop or not to stop to, you know, investigate the little things along the way. It's all these different decisions that add up, I think, that make it. One of the greatest examples on The Last of Us is there's that mechanic, right? I think when a game can tell something through a mechanic is one of the unique things in a video game. So there's that mechanic where you jump up to be hoisted up over like a ridge or a ledge. And there's that point later on in the story where you hit the button, but they don't, like, Ellie doesn't come to hoist you up. And it's just for me, that was a crazy moment because do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Because you have this dynamic, this father-daughter dynamic. And as she is a teenage girl, you know, she was, despite needing to get forward to their objective, she took this moment of, well, I feel hurt by this. And I don't know if I want to be helpful at all. Like, I'm dealing with something bigger right now. Yeah. And it is very much makes it more than a video game, right? It is a full story that you are a part of. Because any other video game, you press that action button and it's going to move to the next section.
Yeah.
And that particular area, it's like, hey, you're pressing in the right place and nothing's happening because of what happened in the story and what's going on with the characters that gave them life.
Yeah, and there's superpowers in every medium, right? Like in a book, you can spend pages and pages of a character monologuing, right? You can hear their inner thoughts. In a movie, you can combine music and visuals, right? And I think one of the superpowers of gaming is just it's I don't know, it's a culmination of so many things all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that you could spend a lot of time with characters and with the themes, like some of my favorite music, for example, through Final Fantasy X and like the Final Fantasy series, you know, you play 60, 80 hours in that, you're going to hear the same themes over and over. And they mean something, at least to me, more having heard them so many times. What are some, I'm curious as far as maybe some performances or some music in games that have really impacted you or that you've like found like man, I really like that performance of that character.
I mean, when you talked about music, something immediately resonated in my mind. Death Stranding. Death Stranding is a very interesting title because it gives people this sense of growth through character movement. You have a difficult time as a carrier through this post-apocalyptic world on needing to deliver something that people need, whether it be food or medicine. There's always something that you're carrying that is very important, and you can't let it fall. And so as you're moving through it, there's going to be all kinds of challenges and obstacles in your way. Sometimes the obstacles are as simple as a steep hill, because you can't be dropping the package of medicine falling all over the ground, right? You got to get your footing right. And there's this moment in the first region of the game as you ascend over this massive hill, and you had just made your way through these, I don't want to call them, well, no, horrific creatures, something from another world.
Yeah.
And you finally make your way through that. And there's this moment of peace having done it as you just ascend over the summit and you're walking the way down. After all this time in horror and then silence, this music kicks in. And you feel this reprieve of like, I've made it. And the music helps communicate that to you. You're like, there it is. There's my goal. There's the port. I'm trying to get to this area, and it just magnifies it. And I mean, that's just the power of music. It's just fantastic. That's in video games. And like you said, in film as well, sometimes just the right track, like, ooh, you get the hair on your arms just start standing up. Like you are feeling it. It's just spectacular.
I was playing this earlier when you walked in. I believe it's the manor, like the Lara Croft manor theme in Tomb Raider Legend. And that track, for whatever reason, has just always stuck with me. And every time I hear it, I get immediately transported back to when I was, a kid just playing this game.
Cool.
And that's why I resonate a lot with what you're saying, where that the right song at the right time and the fact that you are controlling it and going through it, there's just something so spectacular, right? And then the fact that you can hear that song again 10 hours later and it just like means something else, right? In that different context, right? Oh man, so fascinating. I was curious too if because I've played only a little bit of Death Stranding.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't a mechanic in the game where other players can build, for example, bridges or different supply things to help you on your journey? Is that a mechanic in the game?
It is, and it's done in a very fascinating way because it is done in their own instance of that same world.
Oh, wow.
And so you never, ever interact with another player. There's other porters that are in this fictional world, non-playable characters, these porters. But other players can leave things such as a ladder that they use to climb over an area.
Wow.
Because climbing is a big part of it. Or they have attached a rope on a cliff that you can then use to rappel down. And sometimes it's left behind in your instance because it is in just the right place. And what you can do is you can give it a thumbs up or a like. There is no reward for doing so.
I didn't know this.
Only the good of providing gratitude to another player. And so when that player logs on, they're going to see, oh, wow, my ladder that I left behind, all these other players in their own worlds thanked me for this.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of like giving without expecting a reward. And it's a very nice, kind, generous thing to consider. And I cannot think of another instance of that in gaming, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of teaches a behavior that you can have in the real world, right?
Mhm.
Which is one of my favorite ones is returning the shopping cart at the grocery store, right?
Yeah. Great example. Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no reward for doing so. Absolutely not. But
Mhm.
you're doing something for someone else, just to help somebody, you know?
An extra minute of your time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're helping the people that work in the store that are able
Mhm.
to provide you with the food. There's no reward at all for doing so, but just you do it out of the kindness of your heart. And that is what this game also provides. Just give somebody a thumbs up, you know, if you mean it.
Yeah.
And if you do, great. Thank you.
Wow, this is like good vibes only.
Yeah.
I think it might be Epicurus or Seneca. I can't remember which of the ancient philosophers, but the reward of a good job, the reward of a good deed is to have it done, right? Something like that. So I actually do know of one other instance of something similar to this. Have you ever played Near Automata?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know.
So at the very end, again, spoiler warning, one of my favorite games, but at the end, I believe that you can't beat the credit section until you essentially give up your save data to help another player, but then all the other players help you to it's just what a great concept. That's the only other instance I know of something like that.
Well, you have the choice to do it, right?
Oh yeah. No.
You don't have to, right? So it's like you can choose to do so. And if so, you're helping somebody else just as you were helped, right? And yeah, it's very, I mean, maybe philanthropic is wrong, but that's what I think about when I think of philanthropy, right? You're just like, oh, I went through this really wonderful experience. I want somebody else to. Yeah. And that's very much what they do in that title. Yeah. That is a great game. And it's so layered, and it's surprisingly so, because when you played at the beginning, your first playthrough, you don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
And it feels almost short because you beat the game and you're like, huh? Is that it? And it's a game that asks you, okay, play again. And then new things happen and layers of the onions are peeled, and you're like, oh, wow, this is really incredible. And there's all these little tiny things. Like, for instance, you're an android, you're a robot, and your character's name is 2B, which is very much a play on William Shakespeare's work, right?
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be human, to be, you know, are these androids human? Do they have life? Do they have souls? Because they care, they have feelings, but they're robots.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
And they're fighting. I believe they're fighting they're fighting aliens, but the aliens, it's like, well, who is who, right? Like one of the most philosophical games, and also one of the greatest games, I believe, that justifies every mechanic in the game. I believe Nier Automata has 26 endings for the 26 letters in the alphabet, right? A, B, C, and then all these different ones. And it does a great thing musically where there's like a version of each song, like a relaxed version, a battle version, and then like an 8-bit version. And the game justifies it because you have the standard mode of combat, and then you have the hacking mini game. So when you go into the mini game, I thought that was one of the coolest things. It's the same track at the same moment. It just switches to like a little 8-bit rendition. I'm just, man, that was, how did you even hear about that game in the first place? Do you remember just one of those?
Great question. I think, you know, I think it just appeared on multiple gaming websites and people were talking about it, and I didn't think too much of it. And I said, you know what? Everyone's been talking about it. I need to check this out for myself. And it just surprised me. It shocked me. I was like, wow, this is deep. And it was a very well layered game. It was great.
I want to ask about comic books and our mutual admiration for graphic novels. Before I do, I have one more gaming question. So I've spent the past 2 months working with, so I'm a big fan of VR and getting Skyrim VR working in with all these different mods.
Cool.
And there's a mod that recently came out, recently in the past year or so, called Mantella AI. Have you ever heard of this mod?
No.
At all? So what this mod does, it uses like those large language learning models, like basically AI. And they found a way, I don't know how, this crazy coding, where you have the headset on and there's a microphone built in it. You can go up to any character in the game, start a conversation, and using AI, you'll be like, hey, you know, what are you working on? And they will answer in character.
Wow. That is now that you described it, yes, I have read about this. I didn't know the name of it, but yeah, wow, what a world to dive into. I mean,
Crazy.
that is a real virtual world.
And it's a thing where, because I'd seen players mess around with it on YouTube, but when I finally jumped in myself, it's a new thing in gaming. Like I could see something like this having waves, right? Just because all the NPCs track all your inventory, all your missions completed, and they'll comment on it. So they'll comment on your armor that you got. If you buy like a sword from them, and then 10 hours later you come back, they're like, "Hey, how was that sword?" Like it's a crazy level of immersion. So I'm just curious, just if you had any thoughts about that, or if you'd heard about it. So
I have heard about it. Do I have thoughts on it? I say, as a player, I think that's a really incredible experience to really feel like you're in this world, and these NPCs, non-playable characters, have a life. They have a mind, and it almost lends into what we were talking about just a moment ago. Do they have souls, right? To be or not to be? Are these real if they are having conversations that are based exactly off of what's happening in the world and how you're interacting with them? As someone who works in the industry, it worries me, because I worry about the unpredictability of what these LLMs can do and can say. I worry about them feeding off of incorrect misinformation and therefore being verbally violent or abusive to the player. And I feel like it removes the safety of a game, because a game should be fun. Even when a game is challenging, even when a game is terrifying, it's still about fun. But if these language learning models can be fed the incorrect information maliciously, boy, I don't want anyone to have a bad experience playing video games. I don't want anyone to feel personally attacked. And so that's just a fear that I have. Maybe I'm a fearful person, and maybe this would never happen, but that's where my imagination goes.
Yeah, no, and I do think that's a very plausible and justifiable concern, right? Because when you have an actual developer and a development team, right, they can put all the guidelines, or the guardrails, sorry, and almost all the dialogue, is written, performed by actors. And here it's just synthesized on the fly. There's no really telling where it could go. So I do think that is a very important thing. And one of the obviously I'm amazed by what AI can do, but obviously like every great science fiction movie, it's like can we control it? What's going on here?
There is one other part, which is the responsibility of people's livelihoods, right? There's
that too.
These models can be built off of actual performances. People that have spent their lives training for this, and this is how they make a living. And if that information, that data that they're spending so much time putting into this world is then taken without their permission, taken without any compensation for doing so, and then they're left without the ability to do their work and make a living wage, that's the part that, in addition to what I said with the player safety, I want to ensure that people's work is also protected. I guess I care about protection.
Yeah, no, but I share that concern as well. And it's cool because, obviously I'm outside of the gaming industry, but it's cool that you can kind of like switch hats, because you can both see the benefits as a player, but also the concerns, and very, very real concerns as someone in it. So I want to switch gears a little bit here.
Sure.
To graphic novels, comic books. Can you tell me kind of where, if you maybe some of the first comic books you came across, or how you even got into reading some of these graphic novels? What were those first couple ones like?
Oh, great question. I'm not exactly sure what first got me into comics. If I had to guess, if I really go into the memory banks, it probably sprung from enjoying Ninja Turtle cartoons as a kid, and then going into the gas stations back in the 90s when you had Ninja Turtle comic books those spinning racks.
Yeah.
And that's what I picked up. And the comic books certainly were a bit darker, and they went into worlds that the cartoons didn't. And so that excited me. And so I started to go deeper into it by talking to my friends. Hey, have you read this? Have you read that? And then it was around probably 1994. I was just a child this time. Me and my friends, we would trade. We would trade comics.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, almost like people trade trading cards, which is, oh, I have this one, and like I value it at 2 comics. And so great. Okay, well, I'll trade for you. And so that gave us the opportunity to read more. And then I started going more and more to local comic book shops to the point where I could have a relationship with the person behind the counter and say, I would like to reserve these comics, because comics come out on a weekly basis. Some come out on a monthly basis. And so I had a reserved bin, if you will.
What?
These are the comics. Yeah.
You got that great turn. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, I wasn't special. That was what this comic book store did. But that was how the frequency that I would go, and they would hold, this is the cubby hole for me.
Yeah.
And
true fan. Man.
So I'd come in, every Saturday morning after new comics that come in through the week. And they said, great. So these are the comics we're holding for you. Like, do you want to buy these? Absolutely. Yes. I can't wait to keep reading the story. And that ensured I was able to continue with it. And I remember now, as I'm talking about this, why I got into graphic novels. Some of the saddest moments are as I'm really enjoying a story that maybe the mainstream isn't, and therefore the comic gets canceled.
Oh man. Yeah,
and you're like, wait, where was the story going to go? Yeah. Like, I was really into this. I was invested in it, and the story didn't complete.
They leave you hanging. Yeah.
And then, so that's when I started moving into graphic novels, because they were completed stories. The challenge with that as a current consumer is you're always going to be behind. You cannot be part of the current conversation, because the current conversation are in single issues.
Yeah.
So when I read people having conversations online about a certain series, I'm out of the loop. But I do enjoy graphic novels for that particular reason. I get a story from front to back. I love reading them when I'm commuting, whether it's on the bus or on a plane. Like, just having that story from front to start, from start to finish, gives me the ability to just enjoy that commute so much more. It just makes it more relaxing.
Yeah, and I never really thought about that, but that's a great point where, if you're in a comic run, it could at any point be canceled or change or change direction, and there's no guarantee to if it's going to be a satisfying ending or culmination. But with a graphic novel, it's already said and done, and and also there applies like more reviews that you kind of have an idea what you're kind of getting into. Yeah. That's fascinating. So then you go from Ninja Turtles comics and being an avid reader and fan there. What were some of the early, or maybe even just what were some graphic novels? I know one in particular that you mentioned before with Swamp Thing, but
I love it.
What are some other ones that maybe impacted you, or that you were like, oh, I really like what they did here?
I'm sure we've talked about it. If we talked about Swamp Thing, we must have talked about it. Watchmen.
I think we only talked briefly about it. Give me your take on it, man. Like,
Watchmen's fantastic, right? Written by Alan Moore. Same as V for Vendetta and Swamp Thing. And Watchmen was a really interesting story, told in 12 issues. It was written in the 1980s, I think. Don't quote me on that. I believe it was late 1980s. And it asks the question of, what if superheroes were real? Or rather, what if costumed heroes were real? Not superheroes. What if costume heroes were real? And because anybody can put on a costume and fight crime. And it tells the story in its modern time, but does a number of flashbacks to the decades prior to when costume heroes first began earlier in the 1900s through what is modern in the 1980s. And it talks about the realities of the difficulties of being a costume hero. And at the end of every single issue is a write-up. And you're not exactly sure what it's about when you get to the end of issue 1. Issue 1, you're introduced to a character called Night Owl. And he's known as the new Night Owl. As we learn in the very first conversation, he's talking to the old Night Owl. And the old Night Owl is talking about his book and how he got, some people are not thrilled with some of the things that he wrote in the book, but he's like, I wrote the truth, and that's what he cares about. And when you get to the end of that chapter, that first issue, you get to read the first couple of chapters of this book that's in the fiction. So it takes it from fiction
yeah.
into reality. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm reading this fictional literature that was just referenced. And that was just really cool. And things like that continue to happen in the series. There's a comic book stand, or rather, there's a newsstand. And on the newsstand, in an interview, I read that Alan Moore, the writer, and Dave Gibbons asked the question, okay, in a world of superheroes, what kind of comics would be at the newsstand? Because there's not going to be superhero comics. Yeah. And I said, what about pirates? And they wrote a comic book about a pirate. Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The Black Freighter, or Escape from the Black Freighter. Yeah. I think it was the Black Freighter. I can't quite recall, but it's a story within a story. It's a comic within a comic. Very Shakespearean in that way, right? A play within a play. It's a comic within a comic. And each one of the chapters in the comic reflect characters that you're learning about. Oh, wow. And there's all kinds of just analogies to them. It's not, you can read it once, but reading it again and reading it again, you just learn more and more and more. It is very layered. It's deep. It's fantastic.
You learn more and more. Fun, not intended. No, that's actually, okay, I had no idea it had that much depth. So I've read it once or twice, but I remember seeing, like, in the peripheral, right, like the pirate comic in the background, but I need to go back and reread it because, yeah, there's also that, in referencing, like, that first generation of superheroes, it's almost like a meta reference to the first era comic books, right? And kind of paying homage to that. And I remember, there's so much to love about that. In Watchmen, of course, the twist where they're like, we're here to foil your plan. Adamantius? I might get
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias. And he's like, oh, I actually activated it, 20 minutes, 30, half an hour ago, whatever long ago. I'm like, what? Like, that was so crazy to me, just having my mind blown, because I believe I read, it was kind of crazy. We were assigned V for Vendetta in high school, like just recommended to it.
Oh, cool.
I had a crazy teacher, like one of my favorite teachers, but just he was out there, and he had every 5th of November, we would watch V for Vendetta. Wow. And so from there, I watched the movie first, then I read the graphic novel, and then from there, because it was around that time that Zack Snyder did his rendition of the theatrical version of Watchmen. But now I had no idea it had this many layers, so I need to go back and really dig into it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I think it's a challenge too, right? Because it's the concept of world building. And if this is true, what else is true, right? And I love whenever creators of any artistic form, right, in a movie, but especially in video games, really go all out, and they're like, okay, well, if this is what's happening, how will the world really react here? Yeah. And what would the rest of these things look like? And so that it really is great from the creators to think that far in advance. In a world with superheroes, what comics would there be? It wouldn't be superheroes. Yeah, pirates or
right?
swashbuckling adventures, right? It's fascinating.
Here's a cool thing, because you brought up Ozymandias.
Yeah.
One of the theories that I've read from other readers is every character in the book, there's a backstory about them. You get to read about their backstory, except for Ozymandias.
Oh. Tales
from the Black Freighter, that comic, is his backstory.
Oh, that's wild. That's right? A mind trip. That's a mind trip.
Yeah. And since then, a reporter did ask Alan Moore about that. And he communicated like, well, yes, but it can be almost any of them. And he talks about that. But that's one of the really cool things about it is it's his backstory.
Yeah. Wow. That's genius. That's so genius. So then, I have to just talk a little bit about Swamp Thing. I have not read it yet. That's on my list, right? But what about, because at Toastmasters, you actually gave a whole speech on it. I thought it was a fantastic speech. And even just in this conversation, I could hear you talk about video games or anything. Like I'm so thankful. We'll get to Toastmasters in a second, but I'm so thankful that you were in Toastmasters to share stories like this. What are some of the elements in Swamp Thing that really resonated with you, either concepts or themes or characters?
As it comes to characters, I mean, Swamp Thing, in my mind, I don't know if this is with intention, but in my mind, it's a Beauty and the Beast story. Because he's this grotesque swamp monster.
Mm-hmm.
He is nothing more than an elemental, a piece of the swamp that has risen up to mimic the form of a human being, of a human man.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up falling in love with this woman who was the niece of his arch nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
And as she tries to help him, he falls deeper in love with her. And he finally has the courage to say it, to tell her. And she reciprocates with this same mutual feeling.
Wow.
And it's very powerful to me because they had gone through so much together.
Mm-hmm.
In volume 2 of the graphic novels, can I spoil a little bit?
Yeah,
for
please,
you?
please, please. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Her uncle, the arch nemesis, banishes her to hell.
Oh, wow.
And Swamp Thing goes into hell to find her and rescue her. And it is a very gross rendition of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings her back
What?
and does so much and anything and everything for her because of who he learns of who he is. He's had this mission this whole time of, I need to return to my human form. And it turns out he never was human. He's always been this elemental. And so once that is gone, that mission, that impossible mission is gone, he just learns that I need to protect the earth. But before that, I need to be my true self. And my true self is someone who loves this person, Abigail Cable. And when he tells her this, and she reciprocates that love, and they finally kiss, she's gleeful about it. She says it tastes like lime. And he communicates his worry, says, I can never offer you the pleasures that a normal man would.
Mm-hmm.
She says, don't worry about that. I don't need that. I have love for you. And an idea pops to him. As he is now an elemental, as he now understands he's not a person who'd be turned into the Swamp Thing. In fact, he's always been a member, a creature of the earth. His body changes with the seasons. It's now spring. And so plants, flowers are growing on him, including a vegetable root. He takes this root, rips it off his back, goes down to the river, gives it a rinse, and hands it to her and says, eat this. Take a bite. She questions. She says, is this some kind of ritual? Okay. She's like, just take a bite. Take a bite. Yeah. And she does. And she begins to hallucinate. Now, this, I don't think can happen in any other medium, but we hallucinate with her. And what I mean by that is we are turning pages from left to right, from left to right. But as she begins to hallucinate, you turn this comic book sideways, 90 degrees.
Let's go.
And now you start reading it from up to down, up to down as you're going through the pages until the hallucination ends and you return to normal. And it's like, how do you even think of that? It was such a fantastic execution. You went on the trip with them and it helped to consummate their love for each other. And you feel like you're a part of the union with them. And it's just fantastic. Swamp Thing is so good. It's so good.
Dude, I'm so committed to reading that now. That's so fascinating because, like every medium can do it in a different way, right? This is the same with that, Preston Triangle in The Last of Us, where you're using the mechanics of how you interact with, the medium of the message or the story to communicate something else, right? So that is, because I believe, so this happened way later, and you might have seen this already, but it's cool to know that Swamp Thing inspired it in the New 52 with Batman in the Court of Owls. There's a segment where Batman goes like under Gotham and goes through like a hallucination trip, and you are turning the pages as well. So that was our first encounter, but I was like, I think this concept is older, and so it's amazing to know that that's like the origin of it. And I wonder like if he was even inspired by someone else.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm like, was there an origin before that?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, because I remember I think it's in the original Alice in Wonderland, where the letters, like the way they printed the letters on the book, also twists and form and morph.
Really?
Yeah, like in the OG one. So, like this idea of like even playing with a book has.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sometimes it's it's like the reinvention of like the different things, but that's just so dope. to think about, like just for them to really sit down and think, like, how do we really communicate what we're trying to do here? And that brings you along. I can imagine just wait, this way.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Mm.
Oh man, okay, I could just I could ask more here. So I'm curious more. I want to know a little bit about. So I looked up your LinkedIn profile,
Okay.
right? Just because I was curious, right? And you mentioned it. The reason I looked it up was because you'd mentioned in one of your speeches in Toastmasters, right, that you grew up in Brazil and that you've traveled all over. And I saw that there was you spent some time in Hong Kong as well. Is that?
I did, yeah. I was in Hong Kong International School in elementary school.
Wow. So I'm just, if you can just, whatever you're comfortable sharing, like, I'd just love to know more about your story, actually physically journeying throughout the world and how you made it here to Austin. I'm just curious about that journey.
Sure. Yeah. I lived in a lot of places. I grew up a lot because in a way, so did my parents. Not in a way. I mean, my parents did. My mother, she was born in Brooklyn in the 1940s. And at the age of 9, she moved to Guatemala with her family. And that's where she grew up until she went to university for a year in Boston, or actually only a semester in Boston, came back and then went to Miami. And Miami was a smaller bridge between Latin America and the United States. Miami still very much is very Latin and US. So that was a more comfortable spot. My father, he's British, but he was born and raised in Venezuela. So also very Latin. And so he also went to Miami University, or the University of Miami. And that's where my parents met. From there, they moved around a lot with my father's job. Wow. He was in marketing and sales, and they went from Miami to Venezuela. At one point, they were in Rio de Janeiro, and that's where I was born.
What?
And then so I continued to move with my father's job. From Rio de Janeiro, I went to elementary school in Tokyo. So I was there for 4 years, then moved to Hong Kong for a year. After that, moved to Geneva, Switzerland. And that's where I spent my time in middle school.
Wow.
And then went to Miami for high school. After Miami, I went to the University of Colorado at Boulder. After my undergrad, through the help of my older brother, he helped me realize what I wanted to do. I went to undergrad for marketing. I felt strong about that for two things. One, that's what my father did. So I was following in his footsteps. But also, back in the 90s, when you're watching television, to be interrupted by commercials. And what people often did was change the channel. I don't want to watch these commercials. I was the person for when people did change the channel. I would say, wait, go back. I want to see that commercial. I loved commercials growing up. I was really into it. I wanted to hear the jingle. I wanted to see the logo, the motto. I wanted to understand the message. Like, it was just interesting to me. And so marketing felt like a natural fit for me as I was going to undergrad. And I think it was around my junior year of undergrad, my older brother came to visit and he said, hey, did you hear about such and such video game? Because he knew I love video games. Right? I've been playing it since I was a young child. I was in Tokyo from the age of 5, and arcades were popping up everywhere in the late 90s with their economic boom. And I said, oh yeah, I know about that game. It's being published by this group, developed by this group. It's coming out here. I knew a lot of information about it. He said, wow, you really know games. Have you ever considered marketing in video games? And I hadn't. It had never, ever occurred to me, because to me, working in video games meant programming. And that's not what I was doing. And it gave me direction. It gave me a goal. And I set a goal at that time. I said, I want to be vice president of marketing at Sony Computer Entertainment America. Wow. I was laser focused. So I knew I had to go to California.
Do you remember how old you were when you set the goal or set that intention?
That was my junior year of university, of undergrad. Yeah. So I would have been 20 years old.
Yeah.
No. I was 20 when I said that. And I knew how to get there. And not having a job in video games is tough to get a job in video games. So I remember I was in our equivalent of the student union, and there was somebody at a table with a banner that said Activision. And I said, hey, what's this about?
Yeah.
He was a school ambassador whose role it was to hand out posters and tchotchkes and get people excited about whatever game they were promoting at the time. And I said, cool, can I do that too? He said, I can't pay you, but I can give you free video games.
Oh, wow.
I said, good enough for me.
That's an amazing deal.
So I remember I helped promote some of the games with him back then. That was 2001, 2002. It was a while ago. And I wanted to continue to work in video games. I knew I had to go to California.
Mm-hmm.
Sony Computer Entertainment America, where I wanted to go, was in Foster City, California. That's in Northern California next to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a job. So I didn't have money. So I didn't have a place to live. My older brother, he had just been transferred from his company from Miami to LA. So I said, well,
wow.
Can I live with you? So I slept on his couch while I did networking anywhere I could.
Wow.
And I would go online, go to meetup.com, look at places where other video game networking was taking place. And I would just go and I would show up and I would just talk to people. Oh, you work in this, you do that. And it was fun. I met a lot of cool people. And so my older brother was at another mixer, not video game related, but he met someone who he really hit it off with. They became really good friends. And when talking about what they did, this friend of his said, oh, you know what? I work at a video game company.
Wow.
Great. My younger brother's trying to get into video games. Awesome. You know what? Why don't we bring him by the office and I can introduce him to some people? As he walked me around, I met somebody who communicated to me, you know what? We're actually about to lose a person who's going to grad school. So there may be an opening. Why don't you send over your resume and we'll evaluate it. Depending on that, we can bring you in for an interview. And I did exactly that. At that same time, I was working in video production. I was working in Latin music videos at that time, doing things like,
that's cool.
Yeah, they're about to shoot a music video. So the room needed to be black. So I had to paint the floors black for the studio. Things like that, right?
What?
Oh, the drummer dropped his drumstick. Okay, grab the drumstick for him. Make sure things like that. And in between that, I had the interviews. I did the interviews and I was able to get a part-time job at Vivendi Games.
Oh, wow.
And so it was really exciting. It was a part-time job to become full-time. And it was supposed to be a 3-month part-time and then convert. And it didn't end up happening. Instead, the part-time job kept being extended and then extended and then extended. And my boss said, hey, listen, I don't know if this is going to become full-time. So if you want, why don't we just work on the resume together? Maybe we can help you out. It's incredibly kind and generous of her to do. She didn't have to do that. And so I did that and I started applying and I applied to Sony Computer Entertainment and I got an opportunity to do an interview there.
Wow. Now,
I had been in LA for a year and a half. And I got to be honest, I fell in love with the city.
Yeah.
It was so nice. The weather was so great. I was going to the beach. I had a great group of friends. It was great. And I think I had a very enjoyable experience because I wasn't dealing with the biggest issue people always complain about, and that's traffic. My commute from my home, my apartment, to the office, it was nothing. It was under 15 minutes. It was so easy.
Game changer.
Oh my gosh. Right? So that eliminated the thing that everyone always talks about. Oh, traffic. Fine. I can deal with traffic for a 15-minute commute. No big deal.
Yeah.
That's no problem. So I had to make a tough choice. Do I go after this job I've always wanted? Or do I stay in the city that I love?
Right.
I chose the job. That's what I did. So I moved up to San Francisco and I worked there for 4 years. And I worked on games like Resistance and Killzone and Motorsport. This was during the, Motorstorm. This is during the PlayStation 3 era.
No way. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I remember distinctly seeing the Killzone trailer and like that was super impactful to me.
Oh yeah, Killzone. Yeah, so that was, I worked on Killzone 2, but that trailer you're talking about, that was before my time. Okay, so that was a very big moment because that was like a PlayStation 3 announcement trailer, I believe it was. So it was like when they're talking about, this is the promise of what it was. At that time, it's called a TGF is what they call those trailers, which stands for target game footage, meaning it's not actually the game, but it's what they're targeting to create. And so that's why it was so impactful, was because people said like, wow, it's the dream of what it can be.
Yeah.
And that excited a lot of people. When the game actually came out, it was just as impressive. It was able to hit that. There was just a large gap between that target game footage trailer and the actual release, which created some skepticism on people's mind. The proof was there, and it excited a lot of people for it when they actually played Killzone 2. And then I had an opportunity to move again. I got contacted by somebody at Ubisoft Montreal to try something new, to try something different. And that was to work on the development team. It was so cool.
What?
Because I've been working on the publishing side, working on 10 titles at a time. And then having to work on the development side, I was able to work directly with them as they're building and programming a game. It was Far Cry 3 for Ubisoft.
Oh, man.
And so I worked there for it was actually a short amount of time. It was less than a year. Part of that, I got to be honest, those winters in Montreal, it's not California.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hard. I mean,
LA to Montreal. Yeah. To San Francisco to Montreal. Yeah.
I got to give it up for the people that go through it every year. And to them, it's nothing. I guess. Yeah. Just negative 25, no big deal. Sometimes it gets negative 40. Negative 25 is nothing. And I'm like, negative 25 is nothing. I'm here like freezing at negative 1. Like I'm not down for that, but you know what? To each their own. They loved it. I moved back to Sony and to California, and I had the privilege of leading some really massive campaigns. Like I was able to lead the launch of Uncharted 4. I was able to lead the launch of Marvel Spider-Man. That one was really incredible. Death Stranding. Spider-Man was such a dream because, as I mentioned earlier, I was reading comics from a little kid.
Yeah.
And so to be able to market a comic book video game, wow, what a pleasure. And I was given a long runway to be able to work on the strategy for it and launch it. So it was an absolute dream.
And so first, let me just say, thank you for sharing that incredible story, man. This is truly not just an incredible story, but a super inspiring one. And it really showcases your dedication and perseverance, right? The fact that you basically, and also the kind of the role that your brother played in here as well, because, him to even give the suggestion of combining the marketing and your love for video games. And yeah, I mean, as someone who's, never been in the industry, it's always like a mystery of like the developers and like, and the corporate and publication and, all these different, everything that it takes to make a video game. It's an incredible process. But to think that, there would be a role for marketing and video game. Yep. Combine the both. Then for your brother to be like, you know what, let's do this together. Come crash at my place. Yeah. And then your initiative to go look and find at these meetup places and because I know it's fun, but it's also scary. And sometimes you don't know if it's going to work out, or you're just showing up and hoping that something happens. And then of all people, your brother's one that gets the connection to help you there as well.
So lucky.
Dude, but I think there's that quote of luck is really when you've worked so hard and just the opportunity presents itself, or maybe I might get that, maybe the opportunity, I don't know, something like that. But you were prepared for the opportunity and you're willing to go for it. And the fact that you also took that step, you could have been comfortable in LA, the amazing weather, short commute, but you kept following your dream and you were willing to go to that next step and continue on, even taking you all the way to Montreal. Like just, I don't know, I'm just so inspired by your story. And I don't know, I'm just so glad that you've gone through that whole journey. When you go then to work on, A Thief's End, Uncharted 4, Marvel, because I remember you mentioned, we talked a little bit about you like collaborating with like Alex Ross, right? And all that.
Yeah.
Like what were like the projects you were doing at that time that you can share, what was that experience? Because that's like a dream experience to work with these titles and with these properties.
Well, it was a dream, and it was a great fortune to be able to do so. I love that you brought up the Alex Ross magazine cover, because that was something that was really special for me. growing up reading comics, Alex Ross is one of the top tier comic book cover artists.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I wanted to communicate, one of our messaging pillars, was authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to communicate that this is a true Spider-Man video game. It is true to its Spider-Man roots and comic book roots. And you can't have comic book roots without comic book connections.
Mm-hmm.
And so we reached out to Alex Ross for this cover. I remember very much we want to reach out to Game Informer because getting on the Game Informer cover is a very big deal. That's how you make the big announcements, especially back then. 2016 was the first trailer, or something at that time.
No, I know there. I was a subscriber of Game Informer, so like just always. That's where we would go for all the info.
Yeah. And so I want to get that cover, and I wanted it to be impactful. And Alex Ross, you knew he'd be able to deliver something incredible. And that was such a significant moment. One of my favorite stories, being at Sony working on the Marvel Spider-Man campaign, is one day I was at a town hall and I was walking by and I saw the head of music. And something just sparked. And I looked at him and I said, "Hey, Chuck." Chuck's his name. We're working on the television commercial for Marvel Spider-Man. And I think what would really hit home is instead of a licensed track, can we work with the composer who's working in the video game to compose the music for the television commercial?
Whoa.
And that never would have happened if I hadn't just seen his face. It just, for some reason, just sparked right then and there. And he loved that idea. And we worked with them. We worked with Joe Paisano. And he is a master composer.
Wow.
And created such a fantastic track for our television commercial that just made it sing. It just made it feel like a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And that is what it had to be, and that's what it deserved to be, and that's what it was. And so we were thrilled.
That's such a cool story. Like I want to like go check out that commercial now just to experience that. That's so cool that the idea came to you and that you took that step and that you guys were able to make it reality. It reminds me, it's one of those like industry legends where I'm going to get the names wrong, but whenever Square Enix and Disney had similar, like their offices were nearby. I don't remember who were the two people that got in the elevator, but it was an elevator ride. And they mentioned about collaborating, and that was how Kingdom Hearts was born.
No way.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I don't know the names of the individuals or their roles, if they're a manager or what, but that I know is a pretty common story that's told. But it's just those one-off conversations that can lead to something incredible. And in this case,
Yeah.
This next, because I've tried to kind of stay away from anything modern.
Let's get into it.
But I would just love to ask, close out on so then that's your time then in California. How then do you arrive to Austin and your current role? What was that journey like?
So I was able to work at Sony during the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 era, launching the PlayStation 5 with Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And COVID hit in 2020. And it was a very strange time for everybody. And I remember at the time, the person I was dating, we lived together in a 1-bedroom apartment. We had a dog. I've got my desk in the living room. She's got her desk in the kitchen. Because we were working on the kitchen table together, laptop to laptop. But having all the meetings, we then had to have some separation. We didn't have a door between us. We just had a wall between us, but we could hear each other.
Oh, wow.
And everything just felt cramped. Everything felt really cramped being in a 1-bedroom apartment that was our home, where we had our pets, her office, and my office.
It's a lot.
And so we knew we needed more space. And as I was looking for places for more space, she is a incredibly intelligent person. And she's saying, okay, well, where's the market going? What are these cities that are growing.
Mhm.
So therefore, if we take the massive investment of home ownership, we'll see a return on that investment.
Mhm.
And it was between Seattle and Austin, and Austin excited me more. And I think Seattle's fantastic. I love Seattle. I love the food. I have a lot of friends there.
Mhm.
But there's just something about the Austin live capital music of the world that made me go in this direction. And so I moved to Austin, or I had the plan, the desire to move to Austin. And so I was looking for where are places that I could work while going to Austin. And I was able to find a studio that was opening up here. Crystal Dynamics is headquartered in California, or was at the time.
Mhm.
Now it's very distributed. And they're opening up a Crystal Dynamics Southwest. And Crystal Dynamics makes Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider. I've always loved Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is a fantastic franchise. I mean, through a BAFTA poll very recently, Lara Croft was crowned most iconic video game character.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows
Yeah.
Lara Croft. It's a global icon.
Mhm.
So the opportunity to market the Tomb Raider franchise appeared, and I was able to just jump on that.
Mhm.
And I said, yes, absolutely. Did everything I could to talk to the right people, to prep for all of my interviews and make my way into the role. And I'm super proud that I get to work on the Tomb Raider brand and work on what we're doing next in the franchise. So that's what brings me to Austin.
Yeah. Oh, and yet again, what incredible, just kind of following that journey, man, just willing to go to a whole nother state, right? Had you been in Texas before coming here?
I had been in Austin, but it was for a short stint in college when a friend of mine were doing a road trip from Colorado to Miami, and we stopped in Austin along the route.
Man, wow, and yeah, I mean, I've just seen just so much, just new developments, right? With Tomb Raider, with Lara Croft. I know that there's a Netflix show that recently aired.
That's right.
Right. That's on my watch list. What was the other one? I just saw this. I mean, obviously, like the different things, but what is that experience like? To market and work with such a global icon. I can imagine kind of like a dream come true. Something I don't know what's that.
It
like?
is, and it's a great challenge because Lara Croft means so many different things to different people. Through all the eras and the iterations, there's been people's first interaction with Lara Croft, whether it be the original PlayStation experience, whether it's the films of the early 2000s, whether it's Tomb Raider Legend, as I know that you're a fan of. Everybody had their first experience with Tomb Raider, and that first experience is different. And because of that, people consider, okay, what is Lara Croft to me? This is my special Lara Croft, and we need to keep that in mind. So as you're marketing this franchise, we take this, we follow this mantra called "No Lara Left Behind," meaning every single version of Lara Croft is valid. Whatever your favorite is, that's a great Lara Croft. They're all great Lara Crofts. And so, how do you build a message for a franchise that is so wide? And that is the big challenge that we had to tackle. And I feel very proud of what me and my team have been able to do to tackle that. And now we're going down the path of an initiative that I call Lara Croft Everywhere. And we are collaborating with so many different partners, whether it be Lara Croft in Call of Duty, in Fall Guys. In 2021, Lara Croft was in Fortnite.
Oh, wow.
We did Magic the Gathering cards. I mean, the list continues to go. We had The Legend of Lara Croft on Netflix. We have recently, or actually in 2022, we announced that the next Tomb Raider is coming on Unreal Engine 5. We also confirmed with Amazon Prime Video that we're creating a series with them, the same team that did the Fallout series. I mean, we're putting Lara Croft everywhere because it is a big franchise that everybody should get the chance to be able to experience. It's the spirit of adventure, and who doesn't love that?
Man, yeah, dude. So to bring this full circle, that as a player, as a lifelong fan of Tomb Raider, of Lara Croft, what she represents, that is such an incredible guiding philosophy, right? No Lara left behind, and that makes me as a player, feel like it could not be in better hands. And it is, to kind of circle back with the Spider-Man idea of with great power comes great responsibility, right? I can imagine that's very true. I never thought about that. The challenge of, how do you, balance all these different expressions of the same core, concept, the ideal of Lara Croft throughout all these different iterations, and pay tribute to the previous versions and also still innovate. And I mean that's a lot to balance.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing undertaking. And so again, I just congratulate you for making that happen.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, really just to kind of wrap up here, I want to be respectful of your time. Is there anything else you want to share just about your journey of video games? Maybe, anything that you're playing right now, or anything we can look forward to in the future?
Well, we spoke about this a little bit before we turned on the mics in terms of what I'm playing now. I coincidentally popped in It Takes Two by Haze Light, and playing that with my partner, the same one who were stuck in that one bedroom apartment together in California. And wow, we just loved it. It's such a fantastic experience because it's a cooperative video game that makes sure that you're cooperative. You need each other's abilities and communication between the players to really make your way to the next area. Now, Haze Light just released its next game called Split Fiction, and the critical reviews are just astounding. They're so positive. And I guess I just want to say congratulations to them, because what an achievement. Doing something very different. There are no market trends that say this is the kind of game that you should make.
Right.
They went down that path as something that they wanted to make. They were in love with the idea themselves. It wasn't something that says, oh, let's chase this trend. It was, nope, let's do something that we're going to enjoy, something that we're going to like to play, something that we're going to like to make, and they're being rewarded for it with these great scores. People are saying, you guys knocked it out of the park. So congrats to Haze Light.
Wow. With that, David, I just want to one more time say thank you so much for your time. I love the passion. This is one of the best conversations I've had in a while about video games and just conversations overall. So thank you so much. And can't wait to see everything. And now we'll definitely read Swamp Thing as well. That's on the list now. See you guys next time.